Everybody thinks they understand K-pop Demon Hunters, good versus evil, with killer songs and flashy animation. And yeah, on the surface, that's the movie. But what the movie never says out loud is way darker. Because the real secrets of K-pop Demon Hunters are hiding in the little details. But once you start noticing that, it stops being a simple demon hunting movie. It becomes a story about split identity, seductive performance, emotional manipulation, and one terrifying idea: the world is not saved by purity and light. Let's start with the biggest visual clue in the entire movie: Rumi's body. It is treated like a battlefield. Most people see Rumi as the classic leader: strong, talented, burdened. But the truth is, she's not framed like a normal hero. She's framed like a border, a living line between two worlds. You see it in the marks. You see it in the way she hides herself, so fragile, so uncomfortable, so out of place. You see it in how often she's separated from the people closest to her, Mira and Zoe. And you see it in her design. Mira and Zoe feel visually balanced, clean, complete. Rumi doesn't. Her stage costumes show asymmetrical details. Her marks, her eyes, everything points to imbalance. The movie uses symmetry to represent harmony and asymmetry to represent something broken underneath. Now, imagine being Rumi. You're the leader. You're supposed to protect everyone. You're supposed to deliver a flawless performance every single time. But your own body is proof that you don't fully belong, that nothing is truly under control, like your own body is sabotaging you. Huntrix is supposed to be harmony. But Rumi is built on contradiction, concealment, and lies. And if the leader is not fully trustworthy, the team can never be whole. Which leads to the first real secret of the movie. Rumi wasn't just fighting demons outside. She was fighting the possibility that she is one, that she might already belong on the other side. And that brings us to the barrier that separates the two worlds. The Honmoon. At the beginning, it feels clean, controlled, pure. It's built on unity, frequency, order. And visually, it leans into blue and white tones. Everything is clean, pure, separated. Humans on one side, demons on the other. Simple. But as the story evolves, the Honmoon changes. All of Rumi's efforts to create the perfect Honmoon, the mystical golden barrier, fail. Instead, the Honmoon carries pink and purple and becomes rainbow in the end. And that is symbolic, because those colors are associated with the very thing the system was built to keep out. Think about that. The barrier doesn't survive because everything stayed pure. It survives after contamination, after Rumi's truth is no longer hidden. So what is the Honmoon now? It is no longer an impenetrable barrier. Now it is something shaped by Rumi's ambiguity. It means the system didn't win by staying clean, it won by changing its definition. And the catalyst for that change was Jinu. Jinu is not just a love interest, but another secret. He is not simply the handsome but tragic enemy becoming the lover character. He's the bug in the system. He's the one character who keeps crossing lines that are supposed to stay closed. Look at how he fights. He doesn't rely on weapons. His body itself becomes the weapon. Hands become claws. Charm becomes danger. He moves between forms, between roles, between identities. Monster, human, enemy, soulmate. He never stays in one place, and that's the point. But what makes him so dangerous isn't just his power, it's access. Jinu gets close to Rumi in ways the other demons don't, not just on the battlefield, but emotionally. He interacts with the parts of her life that are hidden. That changes the dynamic completely. Because now the conflict is not just external, it's personal. Imagine being Rumi. You can fight demons in public, you can protect people, perform strength. But what happens when the enemy understands your deepest emotions? That's not a simple fight anymore. That's infiltration. And then comes the final moment, the sacrifice. After Jinu steps in, something changes fundamentally. Rumi's sword, the weapon that is powered by her energy, changes its shape. That means that the energy powering it has changed too. The enemy doesn't just disappear, he leaves something behind. And that's the deeper point. Jinu proves that once the boundary is crossed, it never goes back to what it was. Now let's look at the secret symbolism behind the Saja-Boys. because they are not just a group. They're the outer part of a much larger machine. A machine that hides in plain sight. A demonic menace disguised as entertainment. At first, it looks simple. They perform, they gain fans, they rise in popularity, they win. But look closer. The smiles flicker, the movements feel unnatural, the energy feels off. Even simple gestures start to feel wrong. Because Saja-Boys represent something deeper. They show what evil looks like when it understands how to be liked. No need for fear, no need for obvious horror, just beauty and charisma. And that's what makes them dangerous. Because people don't fall for monsters. They fall for things that feel safe, familiar, attractive. The movie turns fandom into something unsettling, not because fandom itself is bad, but because it can be used. Attention becomes power. A K-pop concert becomes a demonic, soul-snatching ritual. And once that system is running, they don't even need to hide their demonic nature anymore. Because by that point, the audience is already on their side. That's the real horror. And huntrix can't win that fight with strength or performance alone. They need to evolve as a group, which leads us directly to the secret behind Zoe and Mira. Zoe and Mira are not just supporting characters. They are two completely different responses to darkness. Zoe is openness, emotion, trust, softness. There's a kind of innocence in her, but that innocence is fragile. Because she's also the one most affected by conflict. She struggles with disconnection. She feels pulled between worlds, between identities. That's why she's the one who can imagine that not everything is purely good or evil. She sees possibilities. Now look at Mira. Mira is control, sharp, precise, composed. She doesn't show everything she feels or thinks, and that's exactly why she is so intense. Because everything is kept under the surface. Mira represents controlled attraction to something dangerous. She stands closest to it without fully stepping in, and that creates tension. So now you have three different responses. Rumi carries the conflict inside her, unable to fully connect. Zoe expresses everything openly. Mira contains everything. And together, they're supposed to function as one perfect unit? That was never going to work out, was it? Because harmony in good times is easy. Maintaining harmony under pressure? That's where things break. That's exactly the motif the movie hints at in all the unsolved background stories. Because Kpop Demon Hunters is actually a story about absence. And that's the biggest secret. Things that aren't there, but feel like they should be. Missing history, missing people, missing explanations. The world feels incomplete on purpose. Generations echo each other. Characters resemble past versions. But nothing fully lines up. There's always a gap. And that gap is what drives all the theories. Because the movie trains you to feel like something is unresolved. Something is just outside the frame. But here's the key point. The power of the story doesn't come from confirming those theories. It comes from the feeling that there's always something missing, that no one is fully whole, that you never see the full picture. And that's what makes the world feel real, because real identity isn't clean. It's complex, layered, unfinished. And this movie leans into that hard. So, what are the secrets? What is Kpop Demon Hunters really about? It's not just about fighting demons or good versus evil. It's about survival in a world where image matters more than truth, where performance can reshape or even replace reality, where beauty can mask evil, and where integrity, strength, and talent isn't enough to survive. Rumi shows us that identity is unstable. Jinu shows us that every boundary can be crossed. The Saja-Boys show us that evil can be attractive. Zoe and Mira show us that strength comes in different forms, and all of them have weaknesses. And the Honmoon shows us the final truth. The world didn't survive by staying clean, it survived by changing, by absorbing what it once rejected, by becoming something new, something uncomfortable. So maybe the greatest secret of the movie is this. The thing you're most afraid of becoming might be the thing that saves everything.